Hello everybody. Welcome, welcome. I hope we're all good. Today at the zoo. God, the Spud Zoo meetup. I wonder if Spud's been planning or thinking about doing another, or that collection of people have been. I'm totally out of the loop with that. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, hello everyone. How are you all doing? Once again, chat going before I'm even live. Look at that. That's so cool. What are you guys talking about? Pokemon? Let's see here. Just finished watching the new Pokemon I Choose You movie, The Feels. Oh, yeah, I forgot that came out. Is it actually good? Or is it I mean, the continuity of Pokemon's at a point now where I just sort of... It's too... I don't know. I'm kind of interested, though. Is it supposed to be a tie-in with the new sort of half-step generational game that's coming out on the Switch soon? Is that the one where Pikachu speaks? Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, that was bad. It was an okay movie, but that was very weird. Pikachu starts talking. It basically... this is not a spoiler, okay? And frankly, I don't really care. But basically, it's like the writers were so bereft of ideas that, you know that fan theory that... like Ash, that it's actually the real world and it's all just like a fever dream or something? They basically... I'll be vague about it. But they basically, it's like that silly joke and fan theory, they interpret and repackage into a movie in their own little way. And it's just so weird. It's really strange. Very, very odd. I can imagine in another universe, I kind of liked it, but I remember thinking it was pretty poop. But yeah, anyway, hello. Hi WP, we're all in game, and you think a dev is here. What, in Guild Wars 1? No way, Jose. I am at the Spud Hall in game right now. By the way, last stream, did we have our zoo cam really small the entire stream? That's really bad if that is the case. Yeah, I'm back at the Nameless Isle, which is where we ended before. Let's click Leave Guild Hall, return to Martu Keep. And this is where we're all meeting up, is it? You think there's a dev among us here? Dude, a Guild Wars 1 dev. There is a Guild Wars 1 dev here. What is this? No way! Dude, he's repping a tag? I have never in my life seen the Guild Wars 1 dev tag. Ever. Never in my life. Oh, I'm actually lying to you. I have seen it. I have seen it because of the Massart rallies in the Maguma jungle. Still, that's cool. Oh, wow, guys, aren't we blessed? Everybody give a round of applause to Jonaroth Dragonfly here. What a legend. What a god. I can't believe it. Right at the start of the stream as well. Hey, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, look, this is why devs don't tag up, because they become a spectacle. They just want to be like everyone else. Look at all the waving. That's so cool. That's amazing. Listen, I'm not even ready to stream yet. I'm just going to cause a dev to sit around waiting. I've got to get some coffee and sort of perk myself up. Actually, I'll tell you the truth. I am, like, mega perked up and really good at the moment. I feel really fresh. Just had an amazing shower. Oh, good stuff. Anyway, yeah, so if you guys want to play... you can throw an invite. Don't care if you're a dev, if it's going to be first come, first serve. So get to the back of the line. No, we'll see. Hold on, let me... Actually, I don't know if we're going to start from Matu Keep. I might go somewhere else in the city. Someone left a comment on yesterday's stream that we only have a couple more elites to get. That can't be right, surely. I mean, we've got a few already, but that can't be right. I mean, for ritualists, as far as that's concerned. Anyway, there's a really good important writ elite. I don't know whether we need to dedicate ourselves to the Kurziks to get or not. So we'll have to see. You actually get it from the Wardens, if I remember rightly, and it's badass. The problem is other writs will probably want to play with us. So yeah, the playthrough will continue. And we'll be doing the Zos Shivros channel and whatnot. I remember we were going to do the Altruim Ruins. That's why I didn't want to do anything, because we were going to do this challenge mission here in the forest first. We're going to do... This is a special playthrough in that, if I remember, my LP all those years ago that did all the side quests and stuff didn't do the challenge missions. I'm pretty sure. It ignored those. So, we can check this out. We will do this one just as we did the Dragon's Throat before. And then when we get further into the Jade Sea, we'll see that as well. Now, listen, today's stream is kind of special because it's the equivalent of when I was most excited playing factions when I was a kid, right? Well, not a kid, when I was a teenager. To me, it was all about the Jade Sea, always. I didn't appreciate how badass the forest is. Nowadays, I feel like I care more about the Echovald Forest. I'm more of a Kurzik these days and all that stuff. But back then, pirates... I didn't even care. This is how shallow I was. I didn't care about the siege turtles. I guess I did a little bit. I didn't care about the clans. I didn't care about their nomadic lifestyles. I didn't care about how puritanical they were. I didn't care about their cutthroat get to business attitudes. Didn't care about anything deeper than the fact a frozen sea. Just think about that. Oh, frozen waves, whirlpools, just glass as far as the eye could see. That, to me, was the coolest thing I could conceive. And the entire time through Factions, I didn't appreciate how well crafted and melded together all the various, styles of factions and Asian cultures was. I didn't care about the beautiful city and in all its drab dreariness. I didn't care about the forest. I just wanted to get to the sea. And so this moment here, where you go to the Martu Keep and your primary quest says, boom, let's do it, baby. That is a pretty exciting moment. And that's what we've got right here on this stream. I'm going to go get some coffee, and then we'll be in there. I might change the build again, because this didn't have the energy I needed it to have. So either we're going to add more energy management, or I'm going to change it up. I might do one final straw poll, but if you guys are like, oh my god, I want to play Nuker again, probably we will stop doing it from chat. But we'll see what people think. That will all come right after the intro. This was just me saying hi. And yeah, we can try it out. So, yeah, see you guys in a second. Hello, I'm back. I've got 2 drinks. First of all, vanilla Coke. Perfect for a nice Sunday afternoon. And I've with ice. And also, coffee. I believe it's Ethiopian, which sounds way fancier than it is. It was actually on sale from Morrison's, your nearby local supermarket. So there you go. Hello, hello, hello. What map am I in? We are hopefully going to play with a dev in a second. I'd love to have... So people think it's Jonanet. I never know how to say his name. We're at the Altruim ruins here. We're going to try out one of the challenge missions. Let's just reread this story. The vast ruins of Altruim are thought by most... This is one of the coolest flavor texts, honestly, in the whole campaign. Are thought... by most historians to be all that remains of the first great Kurzic city, destroyed by some ancient and mysterious catastrophe. The Kurzics themselves claim their ancestors did not build the structures found here. If this is true, then Altruim certainly influenced Kurzic architectural sensibilities. So who did? Wardens would be my guess. You know, it would be fascinating if the whole Warden thing and the previous Elder Dragon Rising connection to the Silvarian stuff ends up, you know, being hashed out properly by the writers, and then we see it turn into something. It's kind of cool to think that Altruim could be older, based on technicality, than even Farina. And Arar, and, you know, how these great early cities line up with one another. Could be a really interesting thing where Guild Wars history starts imitating real world almost, you know, like it with debates as to what was older, Constantinople or you know, any other super old agent. So it'd be very cool. But yeah, so this is also a challenge mission, and if we speak to the NPC, I will get to chat, guys. This is cool. We've got such a turnout here. I'll speak to the NPC and then I'll quickly get to chat. So there's, as always, someone explains the challenge mission. It was still a little bit weird at this point in factions where they were having you enter instances via UI clicks rather than some immersive, you know, conversation in the world. Once they got to Nightfall and Eye of the North, they really hashed that out and figured it out and did it very, very well. And unfortunately, Guild Wars 2 regressed in a lot of ways and started messing that up again. Like, you guys know me, I've never liked the random, click a button on the UI and join the Heart of the Mist or whatever. Is it Amara that explains? No, she's talking about the primary quest, but I think we missed this. The plague has defied all our efforts to cure it. I pray daily that Dwayna has shown me something I've missed, but she remains silent. I've seen no signs that things will get better. No signs of any kind, really. That's grim, man. Look, even 250 years ago, people were not hearing from the gods. They're all bastards. Now that the war with the Luxons has been heating up, I'm under strict orders. Only those who belong to one of our blessed Kurzic houses can get past this point. Is there something else you wish to discuss? Now, listen. Speaking to him immediately has really flashed back some excitement and enthusiasm for me. The Juggernauts. Look at that bioluminescence as it glows. Guys, alright, this is the closest Guild Wars gets to giving us Spartan 2s. Alright? It's amazing. Just perfectly normal reason. That's a person in there with all his mind intact, but he is transformed into this godly freaking thing that towers over us. It's amazing. So, yeah, I would really like to see what Guild Wars 2 does with Juggernauts. I would love to see how they, especially like to pair it with Siege Turtles. It's just so awesome. It's really badass. Again, the Oak Heart treatment, take something established and swap it up, would be brilliant. So yeah, okay, that's still not the challenge mission descriptor though. So who is it that actually describes? Does nobody do it at this outpost? We don't have to... Oh, here you go. Maybe it's the records character? The gatekeeper just takes us to the special area if we're in the alliance that owns this. Is it Petra Brower, maybe? Ah, here you go. Luxons have invaded the Zebrauer amber mines. Even as we speak, those despicable jade dogs are pilfering our amber to make matter... Ooh! Wait. Is this a typo or is this an expression? A false colloquialism, which is very cool world building. To make matter worse mantises, wardens, and strange... No, it's definitely a typo, isn't it? That's supposed to be to make matters worse. Mantises, wardens, and strange mole creatures have been caught in the act as well. The guards have all been slain. Please help me. I love the thought that that's a colloquialism. Matter worse mantises. In a world where mantises exist and mantids, this is clearly what people talk about. That is really disappointing to me to see that they even have typos in this game. Jesus. I'm not messing this up, am I? To make matter worse, mantises, wardens, and strange mole creatures have been caught up in the act as well. The mole creatures, of course, being the big takeaway, is the dredge, baby. What must I do? Thieves have been breaking into amber mines and making off with our amber. We need you to collect as much amber as possible before the thieves get to it. If you catch them trying to sneak off with some amber, kill them and take it back. Do whatever it takes. Reinforcements are on the way, but you must hold out until they arrive. If it goes without saying, the more amber you retrieve before they join, the better. So we'll get big faction bonuses and rewards here, and we kind of want it for a PvE skill. Remember vampirism we got? Well, there's an even more broken PvE skill we'll be looking at very soon. Do you have any advice for me? Slay the bosses, obtain morale boost to increase the time, use movement bust to reach amber quickly. So kind of a variation on the dragon's mouth. Alright, so there you go. Now, I will create a team here. I'm going to accept Smitsky first and foremost. There you go. And I'll kick. Now that I'm the party leader, resend your invites, guys. And if the dev is around and wants to play, I was obviously only joking before. It'd be very cool to see one come along on the stream. I can't believe that they got their eye on the factions, the Acantha playthrough. It's very, very, very cool. And in the meantime, let me just look at chat and see who the hell is typing and what's going on. Hello, everybody. Dead Zealot says, thanks for sticking up for High Horse at the beginning of yesterday's stream. I love High Horse, and I'm not quite sure why. High Horse, High Horse, High Horse. Hey, man, yeah, I'll stick up for High Horse. It's good stuff. Oh, Serial Experiment says, yes, it is Joe Nanette. I rushed into... Oh, you rushed him to the Martu Keep, but he doesn't have anything further. Oh, I'll work with getting him further, so next week you could play with him. Really? Oh, dude, wait, Serial Experiments. Hold on, so you've got contacts then, I see. Does that mean you're a dev as well? And you've just been incognito the whole time, just chilling on our streams? I feel like a lot of the other streams get devs more active and, what's the word? Open with them. And I wonder it's because we create this really, like, quite intimidating atmosphere here. Vanilla Coke Zero is my go-to. Boom. Blag or rage quit. You're goddamn right. Listen, people with a job like me, we got to be careful not to put on the pounds. And I'm telling you, Coke Zero in all varieties is amazing. The best, vanilla. Hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm drinking right now. Aside from beans and mash, it is possibly the nectar of the gods. So WP, remember how I said I was vanquishing maps while listening to the streams? Well, I just finished my final Canthan map and elite skill earlier. I'm trying to get those last 0.4% explorer. Wait, you did all of that purely with streams? Or you did it even without streams as well? Because that's crazy. We haven't been playing that long. To do the entire region? That's nuts. Right, what else we got? Hey, Jerry, it's great to see you. Oh, I still got to think about your mod ship. To be fair, the JT is a very cool point of interest. Okay, cool. I'm killing democracy. You goddamn right, man. You're goddamn right. There's been changes to authoritarian empires in Stellaris in the Lagrin update, which means you don't automatically have to be a slave runner just because you're authoritarian. And I really love that change. So I'm thinking I'll never play another democratic empire again. I'll just purely be, and I'm not saying I'll be xenophobes all the time. Maybe sometimes we love people, but I believe in ruling with an iron fist and a strict hierarchy and sticking to it. Foolish egalitarian rabbles. That's what you are, Twitch chat, and I will not heed your warnings. Okay. What else we got going on? I don't know what you expected, WP. These big games are generally rushed like any video game is. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a quality control thing, isn't it? It's not... the thing that gets to me with the typos is not just that it releases with a typo. I can understand that. I'm not expecting it out the gate. What I'm saying is Factions was actively developed for, you know... Well, maybe this is a special case because 6 months later, friggin' Nightfall was out, and then... very quickly it was Eye of the North and moving on. So, I don't know. Maybe the circumstances changed. Because it just frustrates me to know... after all the years, you know, and we can cut out a ton of the Guild Wars 1 years, obviously. There's like a 5-year period where it's totally not fair to say this was being actively developed, and it would be obscene for me to be mad that typos aren't being fixed in that time. I don't know. It's just I care a lot about this franchise. I care a lot about the image the company puts out. I hate the thought that people would view it as anything less than AAA. That's the truth, and I just want it to be on its best feet all the time, and it's like... It just is very, very disappointing to me to see basic stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to be like some prissy sounding stickler. Like in my personal life and things, I would never really care much about typos. You know, I'm not like some grammar freak. But yeah, with stuff, I don't know. It's like your kid disappointing you, innit? It's not my kid, but you get what I mean. Is that weird? That's probably a bit weird, isn't it? Maybe I shouldn't care about typos. Right, scroll in. You're setting the show with a toothache and a migraine. My soothing voice helps, and painkillers. The painkillers probably doing a bit more there than anything else. Thanks, dude. When Guild Wars 2 the expansion releases, we'll hear about how the devs watch WP's playthrough/stream for inspiration. Seriously doubt that. They just, because if you don't need someone like me to help you along, you just play the game. Like, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm sure they will have. They openly talk to the streams about doing that for Nightfall, right? So, I would never be so presumptuous. That topic is coming up way too much on these streams as well. The potato camp looks so relaxing and a wonderful place. Where's that supposed to be? It was, yeah, it's a zoo. It was a Spud meetup. I was not a party to in any way. I'm too much of an introvert and too distant from it to do that. But it was a Spud meetup where several members of the guild, in-game, Discord and the like, got together and hung out. And I'd never really put any effort into any of it, but I'm weird, unnecessarily proud of it, and it's very, very cool. And possibly one of my favorite face cams of all time. Oh, John is in chat. There he is. I wish I could give you a special tag, dude, so that I remembered your Twitch name. Your name will be mentioned in our office a few times on Monday, I'm sure. What, because of these? Oh, don't scare me, Lau. What? Anyway, all right, let's focus on the game. That's what it should all be about, the game. No, who joined my party and left? Smitsky, you bastard. I needed to be leader. All right, Cosmic Evolution, welcome. Leisure Thorn, welcome. That's right, let's stack these Necros. Here we go. More Necros, please. Let's get serial experiments. Let's get a warrior. We very rarely have warriors. There you go, my friend. Let's get an Ellie. And then at the end, ooh, who do I pick? A Mesmer? Kim Rusar, who we thought was an NPC on one of the recent streams. Bacon and Potato, Igni, or me. Let's get another warrior. Let's have a double warrior front line. Look at that. Ooh, saucy. I hope that our 1 MOA is good enough at healing here. I guess I'm running protective stuff. Okay, I will run just a bit of energy management and hope that that's enough to deal with this. So, the way to deal with it... You gain 4 energy for every summoned creature you control within earshot, up to a maximum of 11. This signet, mwah, beautiful. 10 out of 10. We're going to run this. And I'm going to get rid of... Oh. Earthbind, maybe? It's just such a pricey build we've got here, guys. You've got no idea. It's a really pricey build. I want to capture more elites, though, so I don't want to get rid of this. I don't want to get rid of this because this is our go-to when our spirits are down. The Boon of Creation is essential. The Armor of Our Feeling, if we're not running that, it's sort of pointless to do everything. The Wanderlust Earthbind combo is kind of what's most fun. So I find myself struggling. I mean, this is the beauty of Guild Wars 1 Buildcraft. I'll get rid of Necrosis. To force me to try. So this is a skill... for 30 seconds, but the buff appears on our spirits, I guess. So we cast this last. So the skill order will be left to right. Not very exciting. We'll do it this way. Maintain this. Swing our way. This is the lowest cooldown, so we'll do that. Swing our way through the skills and buff ourselves up with the signet afterwards. Probably in that order, actually. We won't have the energy for the Armor of Unfeeling. So we'll do it like so. I hope everybody's ready. Let's get on in. Begin challenge. Shelter... Yeah, we'll die instantly because of minions. Oh well. We'll run it a couple of times because I don't see any point in the future where this build will be better. People are always going to be running minions, probably. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to dictate exactly what every build everyone uses. We can be an egalitarian rabble for a while. So I will... I'll just run it now so you guys see how this build probably should feel a little bit, and then we'll move on. As long as we precast the Boon of Creation and reclaim the 10 energy before the fight, I anticipate we should be okay in general. Energy-wise, now that we have the Signet of Creation on there too. I could just go back up to the 45 energy and nerf our auto attacks. Half in the recharge on a 15% proc is kind of interesting. Well, we'll see. Alright, okay. I have very little memories of this mission, by the way. So let's see how it goes. Collect as much amber as possible before the time runs out. Kill a boss to gain a little bonus. A time bonus. Oh, shit. I went through the teleporter and I'm alone. Against the wardens. Great. Is the team coming? Oh, I'm not going to be able to solo this. Can I go back through the portal? Here you go. Look at this. Look at it. Look at the energy we got. And now we cast 6. Perfect. There you go. Now, I can't heal my spirits, but we're going to be tanked up reasonably here. So here you will notice we've got our binding rituals and our nature rituals together, which is awesome. You can also... So the nature rituals are coming from the wardens, which is funny, actually. So remember, a nature ritual affects allies and enemies alike. So the wardens use brambles, which is really cool and flavorful, to be honest. Brambles is... when you get knocked down, you get bleed and stuff on you, and I think they also use laceration, which means if you're bleeding, bleed degens you even heavier. So it was really smart of the devs. Again, I've talked about this many times. One of the beautiful things about Guild Wars 1's skill system is you get a ton of flavor from brambles and laceration, which are nature rituals you might not have seen in competitive formats or on player bars much, but it gives the Echo Veld Forest that kind of special feeling. Like you fall over and you get tangled up in the ground as you move around. It adds a lot to the setting and the environment. Now, what's particularly cool about it for us right now is I'm using Wanderlust and Earthbind. So they are hurting themselves because my Wanderlust knocks them into their own brambles, is basically the point. Which hopefully we'll get a demonstration of here. Let's get that up. Armor of Unfeeling. So watch the Warden of Seasons here. He should be getting knock-locked. The problem is there's no binding rituals here. So we could kill him with Wanderlust alone because he gets knocked down and he takes Brambles procs each time, starts bleeding and dying. But he is a Rit and it's his ranger allies that would basically friendly fire him. So we're not going to get anything. You'll notice I'm getting spammed with a lot of faction here. This is great. We're already up to 3,000 out of 10,000. That's a lot already. What the heck? Top left is the bar. If we get that green all the way to the top, we will have beaten the best of the day. And then it will go to the best of the quarter. Best of the week, maybe, and then quarter after that. They don't have all time on Guild Wars 1, which is probably a good idea. Big picture, long term, looking at the game as it is now. Because, I mean, if there was an all-time record for some try-hard group, you know, literally years ago, it's not going to feel too good. Look at that. So we get an extra 60 seconds. I'm glad everyone else has the initiative to move here because I certainly don't have enough. Keep our Boon of Creation rolling. See where everybody moves. Up here. That guy's got a very Canthan name too. That's good. This guy casting Churning Earth. Binding Chains. For 3 seconds, target foe moves 90% slower. All of us do. So there you go. I got knocked down and crippled there. You might find that they're assassins. Oh, no. These are outcasts. Oh, my God. There's so many enemy varieties here, guys. It's bonkers. Wow. So we have Wardens we're fighting. We have Luxons. Outcasts. So that's a variety of Luxon. We don't understand just yet, but trust me, we will later, and they're very exciting and cool. I will do the elite missions on these streams, by the way. I'm well up for it. Everything's been easy enough so far. So if you guys want to see the elite missions, we'll do them. I'm well up for that. That sounds amazing. We never did Doa on the Nightfall streams. I can't remember why. Maybe just passion and enthusiasm dropped off by the end there. Or Doa is actually harder than these elite missions anyway, so maybe there's something to do with that. But we never went and saw the big monkey man, did we? We never saw Malix. We never saw the foundry. I think I showed off the outpost, but not the content itself. So one tricky thing about the build that we've built here is because Shelter kills itself, Union kills itself, Earthbind kills itself, we have to like use the Signet on the back of their creation. Otherwise, they might be dead by the time we get around to casting. Does that make sense? Which wouldn't necessarily be true if we were using vampirism and pain and whatnot. So just by how we've made this build, it's changing things. So here's a boss, but it's a Ellie, so we don't get to capture anything from it. We'll see if there's a writ around. I don't want to do Doa now serial experiments, I don't think. But yeah, so essentially, there's a lot of anti-synergy here. Our minions aren't getting cleaved because my spirits are killing themselves to save the minions, which is, like, not very good. And also, we have warriors with us that are using Save Yourselves. I don't know if I mentioned this already. But Save Yourselves is an amazing skill. It gives you 80 armor to the... no, 100 armor, isn't it? To the entire team. But, and you might think, oh, 100 armor, is that really that good? That's the equivalent of, like, minus 83% incoming damage. All right? Save Yourselves is bonkers. It's really strong. And Paragons are really good for maintaining it on teams. But many, many classes are. Even some of these Assassins might be doing it quite well. Assassin/Warrior. We don't have any. But, yeah, Save Yourselves is kind of like an ultra OP version of Shelter. But here's the thing. Shelter reduces damage if we would take more than 10% in a single strike. If I have Save Yourselves up, the odds that we take more than 10% in a single strike are going to be really minimal. So you might think, oh my god, we've just stacked so much defense. We've got all these turbocharged minions that have got spirits dying for them, and then behind the minions is Save Yourselves, and then behind the save... You might think that, but it's just basically too much, all doing the same thing and competing, and it just means that really we're at the bottom of the pile, to be honest, guys. Like right now, with Save Yourselves up, our spirits aren't doing anything. He's also using the Luxon version of Save Yourselves. Don't think I haven't noticed that, to which us Kurziks are not impressed. The coolest thing we're doing right now is the Wanderlust Earthbind combo, basically. Any plans for arenas in this playthrough? That's a good point. I had forgotten about those, but initially I did want to do them. We'll find some time. Just keep nagging me about it, and we will. I can't believe how much faction we're getting. Look, we're up to 4K now. 4K! We only just got here. This is bonkers. Yeah, 3 of my spirits are about defense and heals, and 2 of my spirits are about knockdown chaining, which is essentially another form of mitigation. It's just more, you know, denial rather than protection. I'm hoping other people in my party have got knockdowns. Like, if we have an assassin running Horns of the Ox and stuff, that would proc my Earthbind too, not just Wanderlust. To get that Armor of Unfeeling up as much as possible. There you go. My Wanderlust knocked down this Dredge Guardian. And so that does not mean he's actually... Guardian didn't exist in Guild Wars 1, so he's a warrior. But it interrupted his healing signet, you see? So, Dredge, yeah, another thing. Why are there Dredge here, you're wondering? In the Echovale Forest? What the hell? Good question. And that will be answered by one of the quests as we go forwards. And if it's not explicitly on this stream, I will tell you by. But it's another bit of quite high fantasy, kind of weird lore, honestly. My main problem right now is this mission could take ages. Couldn't we be in here for like... Oh, no. 3 minutes left, unless we keep killing bosses. I'm alright with that. That's not too bad. This could be a good start to the stream. Why do I do a lot of zeros? Yes, because I have spirits that... my elite spirit shouldn't really be doing any damage. It knocks down on strike instead. Yeah, so... Unlike the sequel... It's kind of okay if it just knocks down. It doesn't need packets of damage on it as well. You know, to make sure that people get revealed and all this other crap like we see on, like, Netshot just got on Engine, whatever. You know, very, very pure, well-defined skills and what they're doing. We should get up to 10k, otherwise that'll be a roadblock layer. Yeah, but then we can do cool side quests at that point. What is that satyr thing in your party? Huh? So here's mantises, just wildlife of the forest. This is a bizarre mission, really. The devs have just thrown everything in it. This Essence of Celerity is so good for my build, by the way. It allows me to cast... First of all, it's reducing the recharge of my energy management, which is great. is reducing the recharge of my spirit anti-dying on Armor of a Feeling. That's a technical term. And also, it's letting me cast the spirits quicker so I can get to the Signet of Creation quicker before the original one at the start of the chain dies. So it's just like triple dipping for me, seriously. That's not even talking about the move speed. These concepts were so ludicrously overpowered. But it was sort of the end of the line when they came out in Eye of the North anyway, so I think that they didn't care much. If that's what was happening. So we get a warrior here. I haven't seen any rip bosses just yet. Have I played any Heroes of Might and Magic? No, I have never played a Heroes of Might and Magic. I played the original old school... Who were the devs of those games? But the first person RPG, but you're a party. I played those. And a little bit of, what was it called? Dark Brotherhood, I think, which was sort of a late 2000s. It was like a 2007, 2008 release, maybe. First person slash 'em up. RPG elements in there too. And I played a little bit of that, but not much. I'm reasonably familiar with what happened with the franchise and how it got to where it is, but yeah, you know, there's a big reason I was such a fan of Grimrock. If you guys haven't seen that series, I'm not trying to shamelessly shill my own stuff, but Grimrock are amazing games. I have two. They're very binge watchable, possibly my most binge watchable Let's Plays. You guys might have other opinions on that, but really, if you are a fan of that format of old school dungeon diving RPG, you want to check those out. They're very, very cool, and I'm really sad that Almost Human aren't working on a Grimrock 3 or Grimrock-like product. I never played Might and Magic X either, before anyone asks that in chat. I know that that's new, but it didn't seem to get reviewed very well. And there were these weird things that came out right when Might and Magic X came out. What was it called? Heart of Thorns? And then it felt like very quickly after Path of something? Flames, I think it is. Oh no, that was what it was. It's Heart of Thrones and the Path of Flames. Yeah. Yeah. There's that. God, that still pisses me off. Does anyone still think back to that and get annoyed that professional fucking gaming journalists called that expansion so often the Heart of Thrones and just didn't care, didn't flinch, didn't respond, didn't look at any feedback they got from them. Just churn out some shit, get a quick buck, move on. Yeah, that's it. That's basically the Heart of Thorns coverage from some people. Heart of Thrones. You're going to have to say it's time to resign, otherwise this might go on for a while. No, the time is ticking down. I'll let us do it. I'll let us go. And besides, this is as was pointed out in chat a second ago, the game's going to ask us to get 10k faction by a certain point in the story. So we may as well just get ourselves nice and close to that now. The end boss was the Lich King. I'm not quite sure what that's with the World of Warcraft side of things. Leave the thrones alone, they have hearts too. I think what particularly irked me about it as well is right when HOT ramped out was right when mainstream audiences and Game of Thrones kind of hit very like hysterical wide catchment appeal. I mean, I'd been eagerly devouring it from the first season because various nerds I spoke with liked the books and they were like, oh, you gotta check it out. So I did, and I was really into it. But it was right around, you know, maybe season 3 or 4, I think, season 2 or 3 was right when it started going a bit bonkers for that show. And then there were all these people messing up Heart of Thorns with which is annoying. This is a pretty silly little thing for me to rant about. The amount of people who said Doom was a Lich King ripoff destroyed your soul. Really? I didn't see much of that. I got nothing about WoW players. I got nothing against WoW players. I'm still interested in playing WoW Classic. I just don't understand any of it. I was being a bit of a miser and a bit of a grump. Just today, I was reading some thread about someone made this dumb post where they were like, oh, I thought in 2020 I'd be playing VR and I'm playing World of Warcraft. He basically did a post of that, and I was reading through the comments on it, and it was all these people geeking out about WoW stuff that I just didn't understand at all. And I felt like a proper outsider. And I was like, oh, stupid WoW. But I'm looking forward to learning those things. They were talking about, here's a little thing for you WoW heads in chat. They were talking about how apparently paladins used to wear cloth armor because you never got set bonuses for wearing the wrong stuff or something. So you never got penalized. And apparently this was very bad design and we shouldn't remember those days. But anyway, oh, we just had a sub, and I just remembered, yesterday I completely ignored it, and I was a terrible human being, a really terrible human being. So let me just run through and see what's been going on, because I really should pay attention to this if I know what's good for me. So let's see. Oh, it seems like very little happened anyway. So here we go. Yesterday, Ella Cora did a Prime sub, totally free for them. Thank you very much. 13 months in a row. That's awesome. I'm glad to see that after you hit your 12 months, you didn't get bored, but you're still in it. That's amazing. We had a first-timer, WR Floor. Thanks very much, man, with Prime there. That's super badass of you. Tag Me for 17 months at tier 2. Tag Me, if you're still around, you can get a special emote. I have 2s unlocked in that slot, so if you want them, just tell me what you want. Harry Guild Wars, it's great to see you as well. 15 months in a row. Hope life's good. Loving the YouTube series. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I know you're probably not watching right now. Conclusory, that's a cool name. 4 months. It's great to see you again. We got defeated. Kabads, 13 months. Literally just a couple of people followed us yesterday as well. Johnny 5 for the first time yesterday as well. Thanks, everybody. And then today we had MMO Shards right when I went live. 19 months in a row. That's amazing. We had Blue Sakon 20 minutes ago, who's almost at their 2 years, Blue Sakon. Have you noticed that? Said 1 more month to get the legendary batch Tato hype. Yeah, that's going to be great. And then just a second ago, MKDHDH for 3 months. I resubbed yesterday and I thought Twitch effed up my streak. Sad face. I was so sad, but apparently it didn't. Yay, love you long time. You love me long time. Thank you. That's awesome, dude. Thanks very much. And happy 3-month anniversary to you. All right. Good job, guys. That was a dick ton of karma. Look at that. We're almost at 6k. Brilliant. Lots of faction. We should have got a bit of gold from that as well. I have party members who cannot travel to the Martu Keep. What is wrong with you all? You must have gone to Tanglewood Copse. All right, we'll go there then, and then we'll run through. This is great. Yeah, I don't know. Me love you long time is kind of a curious thing to say. Just throw out there, but okay. Wow, we have a chest that kills you. Everyone freaks out how good that is. Guild Wars 2. A map that's a desert looks a bit plain. Everyone loses their mind how bad Arena is. Did people really lose their mind? I don't think I saw anyone complain about how the POF maps looked. Anyone. It's more about meta events and rewards that people discuss when it comes to POF maps. Not the way they look. They're gorgeous. You know, it fascinates me. Doing the LP, I may have came out with this little observation recently, and I'm sorry if I haven't, I'm doing it again. But one thing that's really struck me playing a lot of Corteria lately, and also juggling it with POF stuff, is, because I'm not PvPing lately, right? So when dailies come up and it tells me to do a bounty, I'm actually doing them, just for the dailies, but it's led me to the POF maps, and it's phenomenal how much more are asked from their environment artists now than they were at core. To make those maps that actually are capable of supporting mount combat, mount movement and stuff. I mean, I know it sounds like a silly market. Oh, the game's so good, it's so big, and it's like a silly bullet point people just trot out. But it's actually kind of astounding when I'm playing both and comparing them. Just how much was asked of the POF maps. And the Heart of Thorns ones to an extent too, because they're really, really detailed. But it's kind of mental, especially when you look at, like, the bar that was set for places like Timberline, which, yes, it looks pretty, but in terms of, like, points of interest and scope and tricks they do and content density and stuff, it's actually not... They're not that good, those later maps. And when you compare that to, like, just how hard and fast constantly, how big all the walls have to be, how perfect everything has to be for the POF ones, it is crazy. just hope they feel it was worth it. Hello, Mystic Forge. Oh, we have the Mystic Forge in chat. Who picked that name? That's kind of hilarious, dude. Well done. We'll kill these rock wallows because we're going to have to walk past here in a second anyway. You play Guild Wars 2, your partner plays WoW, you're on a break from GW2, and you're thinking about looking at WoW, but it's so ridiculously big and daunting. I just live to vicariously through him. I'm watching him play right now. Well, I mean, what I'm thinking of with it is just the classic idea. I'm interested as a new person with no nostalgia or connection or subjectivity clouding my mind. Just go and play WoW Classic and see how it influenced a generation of MMOs. I'm going to find that really interesting. Where did this information start? I don't know where. Well, Menlo, was Count Petrov surprised to see you again? Sin is not within earshot, is she? So here, cheeky little suggestion that they used to pork. I imagine so. He was even more surprised when his daughter, Danica, told him she planned to help us. She's turned into quite a woman. For my part, I have not been able to obtain the Spear of Archimedes. However, I have contacted an old friend of mine, Rhea. Perhaps you remember her? Elder Rhea? That is good news. If any of the Luxons can help us, she certainly can. Perhaps one of us should head back to Cantha to tell the Emperor of our success, and the other continue on to Rhea. Now, that's a fascinating line right there. I mean, wow. What do we take of this? Is this a bull that the devs should run with? Menlo just suggested that according to his perspective and understanding of the world, being on the borders of Echovald, which we appreciate as a vassal state, but nonetheless a part of Cantha, to Menlo, that is not Cantha. This is not Cantha. This is not Cantha. All this other stuff is. That's a fascinating thought, isn't it? And obviously, I mean, we struggle with this in the real world as well. When determining what truly is a continent or a large-sized region, do we do it based on diplomatic and borders that are being drawn? Do we do it on land masses? You know, there's a million ways to answer the question. And I wonder whether that's something kind of interesting Guild Wars can play with. Should we head back to Cantha to tell the Emperor of our success? Bitch, we're in Cantha. Yet again, Menlo, our minds are in concert. I shall continue my work in securing the spear. In the meantime, I would like you to visit the Emperor and see that he is informed of our latest doings. Now, it's a bit of a silly thing, but one thing I really quite like about the story here, I think it's really elegant the way they've slotted Menlo into the to have a stake in the Kurzik side, and now replaced him again with Togo and balanced the characters well. I just think elegant is the only word I can think of for it. It just feels smooth and natural, and it works, and you can see how he seamlessly come in and left, and we can pick which of these two characters we do later. It's nice. You can see that they're trying to achieve an end, that they just want the one big critical NPC with you each time, but they did it well. I don't know. It just feels efficient, nice, clean. Remain at all times when you're here in the city. No. We have been looking for an old Luxon friend of mine named Rhea. The Luxons are like the wind. They prefer to drift from place to place. So it could very well be that Rhea is on the other side of the Jade Sea. Fortunately, they are hosting an event they call the Convocation, and most Luxons have returned to their capital, Cavalon, to partake in the festivities. I would be surprised if Rhea was not there to oversee the competition. This is great as well. The Convocation... This series can kind of be defined as us looking at and picking at old elements of Cantha from 250 years ago and wondering what could be appropriate for a Guild Wars 2. And I'll say one thing, I don't think the Convocation should be something they necessarily bring back in the sequel. You don't want to fall into that trap of just constantly jerking off over old things you enjoyed instead of building something new, right? And I think that the Convocation's cool and it was a big part of the story here and now, but let's see what the Jade Sea is like at a different time of year when the people hit me. You know, maybe they don't celebrate anymore. It would be nice to get some kind of little journal or something alluding to it, but doesn't have to be a big thing. I probably wouldn't like that in the sequel. Do you get what I mean? I think that would probably come across a bit tacky to be like, oh, the Convocation again. All right, let's, you know, like... So, yeah, most of the series is me saying, oh, this should come back, and this should come back, and this should come back. I will at least temper myself when it comes to the Convocation. We don't need that too, do we? Chat? Or am I wrong? Just this part of the story is so fun. A little introduction to each faction, giving you a taste, but still relevant to the plot. Yeah, it's interesting, though. I do seem to recall a general feeling within me that there's maybe something not to like about this. Perhaps a more exciting way of delivering these two regions is to ask someone to commit at the gates. Basically, what they've done is they've given a little preview of the forest, and they're going to give us a little preview of the Jade Sea, and then they're going to ask us to put our faction on the line. And that's all well and good, but what if it was like, okay, you can't enter unless you pledge yourselves to us. You can't enter and like that's the RPG you don't get the taster. Do you get what I mean? There's a side of me that kind of likes that idea that tough titties deal with it if you pick the Luxons and now you realize you don't identify with them. Well, maybe that's a fun thing to explore, you know, or their region. Maybe that's a fun thing to explore. And so I feel like by giving us the little taster, it kind of robs us. I guess here's another way to put it. And I'm drawing from very old, like, teenage impressions I had of this. Here's another way to put it. I like the idea that if you played the game and you didn't pick Luxons, you don't get to see their territory at all. It's more about the denial of the alternate territory, which preserves the mystery and maintains that sense of magic. No, I picked Kurzik, so I never saw any of the Jade Sea. I got no idea until that last big moment at the Harvest Temple, you know, where the two collide. And that would be really quite a profound thing, you know, and I think that's a way that it could have been delivered too. Oh, so we got a Wayfarer's Mark! So, there is a special event right now because of the anniversary of the original game. Check it out. The Wayfarer's Mark. A token found during the Wayfarer's Reverie. Trade it to collectors in town for a reward. So, we obviously had Bill Fries to CW, and I'm now led to believe a couple more people, actually, who did some work on Guild Wars 1 recently. But prior to that, there was one big update, and it was the 5th anniversary, was it, I think? And it was the Wayfarer's Reverie, which I did not cover very well, and I'm sort of mad at myself for not covering very well. Maybe we'll look at on this series, maybe? Question mark? But in a weird way, you're actually looking at... with me mousing over this is newer content than the War in Kryta, than Eye of the North, than Nightfall, than the War in Kryta, Hearts of the North, even Winds of Change, which I've described many times on this series as the end of the timeline. Winds of Change is the last big content. The Wayfarer's Mark is even newer than that, really. It's just not as, you know, expansive. Or as ambitious as Winds of Change was. But Winds of Change is basically a campaign. Let's just be clear. It's fucking awesome. How do we think that the Luxons speak? I guess we'll see their voice acting in the cutscenes and go from there. It is my duty to guard the entrance to the Boreas seabed. If you have gained approval from the Luxon elders, I can arrange transport for you. Not many outsiders make it past these gates and into the seabed, but I see that Master Togo is with you. I wouldn't dream of denying him passage. Let me know when your party's ready. We wish to go. I guess I kind of like Luxon as well because I like Togo a bit more than Menlo. But maybe that's just me. Should be a cutscene now. So let's enjoy. Wow, this is a hell of a loading screen. This is longer than a Guild Wars 2 Lions Arch loading screen. Oh, did we bug? Did we crash out? I'm not even running Umod right now. Oh, there it is. There it is. Jesus.
First, we locate Elder Rhea. She is the key to finding and securing the Spear of Archimedes.
Look at those turtles! Oh! You guys have got no idea. These things are awesome. I mean, the Juggernauts are cool from a lot more human standpoint, but these are also badass.
Ah, there she is. Come, the spear is within our reach. Elder Rhea! Elder Rhea! It is I, Togo of Xingje Monastery.
Master Togo, you are quite a sight. I wondered when you would emerge from your self-styled exile. How you managed to live within the confines of that stuffy monastery, I'll never comprehend.
Ah, well, I suppose my spirit does not crave the wide open spaces as strongly as yours.
Well, it's good to see you. What brings you all the way out here?
We have come for the spear of Archimedes.
Togo, you know full well I cannot just give you the spear.
Oh, no?
No! Today, Zu-Hanuku, the great kraken, returns from the deep. What do you study in that monastery of yours?
Apparently not enough Luxon culture.
Apparently. Every year, Zu-Hanuku returns, and on that day we hold the convocation. The strongest among us fight for the right to be the one who defeats the great magical kraken, returning him to the waves.
That is very nice, but...
The convocation is today. The spear goes to the winning clan.
Rhea.
Togo, if you want the spear, you'll have to fight them for it.
It's the Norn through and through, innit? They're Norn, guys. They're Norn before the Norn were conceived, and they're awesome.
Another convocation has come, and with it, Zu-Hanuku, the mighty sea beast who has terrorized the Jade Sea for hundreds of years. I return the spear to the pedestal, the prize of today's contest. May the strongest clan take up its haft and once again slay the magical kraken. To all of those we are about to defeat, I salute you.
I love their face paints and stuff. I'll tell you what, the voice acting was not that bad there. I kind of like her. I think that's not bad at all. Like that kind of gruff, like Smoker's voice. Come on, that's awesome. Let's see what everyone said. Someone had a really good point. Yeah, Serial Experiments said, we have a player with us who has to download everything. The cutscene doesn't play until everyone's downloaded. That's why we had a long loading screen, because someone else needed files to download. That's a weird thing. I don't recall. Guild Wars 2 never does that, does it? It doesn't hold everyone in waiting until that one person's done. Really curious. But yeah, it's a cool cutscene. Pretty sure the Luxons are supposed to be Southeast Asian. It'd be nice to voice them in, like, Singlish. I wouldn't know how to do that, I don't think. Someone said voice them like rough wildlings. I agree with that. Crude wildlings, yeah, Quan91. I think he's on the same page as me. They seem a little bit more organized than I remember them being here. But yeah. Cigarettes does exist in Guild Wars, because she sounds like she smokes a lot. But she doesn't have to be smoking fags. She could be smoking, like, salves and herbs and stuff like that. Right? I'm sure that they smoke something. It doesn't have to necessarily be tobacco in a little through a filter. That would be funny if they just ran like, well, we the Asura have invented something highly addictive. I wish to sell this product to the consortium. And then it's just, you know. I'm trying to think of some brand, but yeah. Bath salts. Tobacco. Do you know what happened to Crichton face paint? They just made the Crichtons a bit generic, realistically, didn't they? Sometimes they honor the roots of them in Guild Wars 2. Not enough, I'm afraid. It's kind of okay, though. If you want the face paint aesthetic and stuff, they kind of give you the Norn and hope you'll do that. I don't know. If a Cantha... there's... We talked a lot about what if they are making Cantha, and what if they really are doing it, and what if they really are doing a 6-playable race and it's the Tengu, and you can play Angchu and stuff, and you get the Domain of Winds and stuff. Can you imagine if they went that far? They could do all kind. If they opened the box to character creation fiddling again. Can you imagine all the cool stuff that they could do? They could like allow you as a human to have new varieties as well, and it would be really, really, really interesting. You know, I've been thinking as well, that I can't show you because I'm in Guild Wars 1 right now, but the Guild Wars 2 character creation screen, when you pick your class, it's got that little bit of description for what your class can do. A Mesmer, it will say, oh, you get into the minds of your enemy. A Guardian says, do you like protecting your allies and being, you know, the one to draw all the enemies and stuff, even though you don't really get that experience. But I've always thought, since they added elite specs, they should augment that on the character creation screen to say... a particularly powerful Guardian can choose to specialize as, and then they have a colon, they have a little list, and it says the Dragon Hunter, the Firebrand. And don't forget, next X-Pack, there'll be a point where there's the third wave of elite specs coming in. So that if they did that part of the UI, it would actually be quite good, I think, for new players, because you'd get to see everything it turns into. A bit like you kind of feel in other MMOs, say like Maple Story, where you start as a beginner, then you pick the archer, and then you become like the crossbowman, and you keep going. I think that should be expressed on character creation, you know, now that all that design's in there. So it would be a great chance for them to just retool, open up a lot of that character creation stuff, refine all those stupid biography options that don't mean anything, like an Asura, who my first mentor was. Delete it. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It just changes the guy in the home instance. Personality options, which is basically defunct. You know, they've got a great, great, great opportunity to figure this stuff out. So I don't know. And maybe we can be a face-painted Luxon that has a pack of SIGs with her.
Don't tell Togo, but it saddens me that Menlo was not with you all. It would have been nice to see that dear boy. He's so charming, that one. Well, anyhow, good luck against the clan champions. Remember this, they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. Learn what these are, and the Spear of Archimedes is yours.
There you go, that's my attempt. If you want me to do a rough voice, what you need me to do is go to a concert, and then the next morning make me speak. Okay, cool, so Argo here was speaking. I am champion of the turtle. I will win this day, do not doubt it. We of the turtle take the time to study our opponents. Because I have studied my enemies carefully, they cannot stand against me. And neither can you, outsider. Oh, man. I cannot ever hear that word. Well, actually, I'm thinking of the word outlander, so I'm getting even more confused than I should be. Boreas, seabed, it's a mission. We don't have the swords on it yet because we haven't done it. We'll go for the Master's Reward again. We can speak to each of the clans and actually learn a lot about the Luxon clans here. There's like Crab, and there's Serpent, and there's Turtle. Turtle are obviously coolest. Here's Serpent. She looks cool. I fight for the Serpent, and I will honor the Luxon Armada with your defeat. But I suppose you'll find out in the arena, won't you? Between us, Argo is mighty, but I know I can beat him. So that's her. And then Elder Caster. Zuhakanu. So, a creature from the deep. Now, we've already heard of the deep. Just imagine that if the idea of a frozen sea is not enough for you, imagine the idea of mining down into that frozen sea of jade and finding caves and openings. And the people who get into those caves start going mad. And things start getting all messed up down there. And eventually you realize you can't safely explore those regions, that they're corrupt, that there are dangerous monsters you know nothing about below, that there's something seriously sinister going on. What do you call those places deep below your feet as you traverse the endless plains of glass above? You call them the deeps. Woo! I mean, what a cool setting! Honestly, only like Ascalon is better than the Jade Sea. Oh, I don't know. They're kind of hard things to compare. And the thing is, Guild Wars 2 Cantha might not do any of it or have the greatest elements. Zuhakanu was a legendary sea spirit until it first appeared 200 years ago in jade flesh. Each year our strongest venture out to defeat him before he destroys the mighty armada. We show we are more powerful than the sea itself. Weird. How does it keep coming back then if you destroy it each time? I don't know how they're really talking about this. But, yeah, the Jade Sea took a lot of nice, friendly, long-lived, awesome things and just made them go mental. And that's kind of why you get hints as to a bigger backstory and understanding and deeper connection to magic and stuff in the Empire of the Dragon. But you can't get deep into it, really, because everything's fucking crazy. And there's only a few salt sprays that will talk to you. And there's only a few wardens that will talk to you. And there's, you know, so it's kind of the benefit of Cantha in this period of time. But 250 years from now, there's no reason the Wardens should have such a beef anymore if everything's cleansed. There's no So I don't know, what do? Do a weird tacky retcon where they say 20 years after the Guild Wars 1 hero dies, the Ministry of Purity undo all our efforts, and for some reason it stays stone because of powerful wizardry, and I don't know. We may fight each other, but it is our brothers. It is to make us stronger. When we fight the Kurziks, it is to destroy them and to take what is ours by right of strength. It is the way of the sea. Okay, Remick. Most outsiders are not strong enough to survive on the Jade Sea. We almost never see strangers here. If we do, they aren't here for very long. If they are Kurzik, they are dead. Ooh. Yeah, it's kind of like take the Norn and make them fucking hate someone. which the Norn generally don't because they're very individualistic, so they would never hate like a society. But that's kind of what you get with the Luxons. It's kind of a cool thing, you know. Let's go over here. Talk about the Jade Maw. Well, he's in the mission, so we'll fight him in a bit. Oh, wait. No, I'm thinking the Jade Maw. You're talking about... Well, when we get to the Elite mission, we'll talk about stuff like that. Here's the Crab Clan. This is Damon. These guys become henchies, by the way. 3 of us will die today. I do not fear it. The spirit of the crab is strong in me. And besides, I have died and been reborn many times in this life. What? Well, I guess that's sort of true. Grenth's got his back. My opponents are strong and in some ways weak in others. I know them well. You are new to me, but I'm not worried. Mate, I'm getting carried by a lot of people here. Seaguard Ellie. We of the Seaguard are bound to our champion from birth. It is our duty to provide support during battle. This is interesting. The Seaguards. I'm not very familiar with them. So what, they stick with the person and just defend them? They're like bodyguards? A Luxon version of bodyguard activity? Zu Harkonu's death will release a large burst of energy, which we will harness and use to raise our fallen champions. The sea that was lends its power to help facilitate this rebirth. Oh, I forgot about that whole element. That's cool. So there you go. Almost some Elder Dragon-y elements and themes in that. The clans come together only once a year. Again and again we slay Zu Hanuku, but every year he rises. Last year, Argo was victorious in the convocation, but I believe he cheated. Damon will best him this year. I mean, it's good to hear about the fact that someone cheated, but you don't have to give the details on it. It's just enough to make it feel like a real lived thing. It's not just pumped out of nowhere to give you something to do in this campaign. It feels like a real part of the history of this area of the world, you know? Just through little bits of exposition and dialogue like that. Love it. Oh, hold on. Boreas seabed. The site of many of the greatest battles in Luxon history, the Boreas seabed is also the home range of Zu Hanuku, or Old Longarms in the ancient tongue. Every year, this mammoth kraken arises from the petrified seas to lash out at the Luxon capital of Cavalon. The souls of the great Luxon champions are also said to remain here, watching over their descendants. This is also nice. I love how they start referencing Cavalon before we get there. It just feels good. Okay, good. Let's get going. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be pronouncing all the random, insignificant little things correctly. All right, here, I'm going to turn the desktop down now. It's Zu Hanuku, not Zu Hanuku. Wooden Potatoes has been saying Zu Hakunu. Should we just call him Old Longarms? The Kraken in Guild Wars 1 look like creepy squids, while the Jade Maw is a natural huge monster. You're talking about the Fractal, right? I mean, yeah, that's a Fractal recreation. Oh, I see what you're trying to get me to say. You're trying to get me to say is the Fractal recreating the Convocation. Guild Wars 2, when you play the Fractals, is that another variant of this? I like the idea of that. I like the idea that the Fractals, as well with Snowblind, are recreating the... oh my god, what, the Frostgate mission? No, it's not the Frostgate. It's the one just before the Frostgate, where you run around lighting all the beacons and stuff. We never changed our build, but I'm okay with this for now. I guess I could run Displacement as well. That would probably be somewhat useful. Let's get Shelter up. Pump that straight away. If I early cast that before the boss died, we could have pumped it up. But we got to triple cast that, essentially, there. That's pretty good. So yeah, we got to just take out each clan. For what it's worth, there is a 2018 speedrun record that was just beaten, literally like 2 weeks ago, of this mission, where a guy soloed it in about 2 minutes. This entire mission, he soloed in about 2 minutes. Now, bear that in mind as you watch my stream here, and if that interests you when you see how long it takes us to beat it, and you want to know what his technique was, you can go watch that video. Just type literally the name of the mission in on YouTube, and I'm sure YouTube will... find it for you. Or maybe we can have one of our Google gods in chat figure it out. Yeah, Snowblind is a cool Fractal. There's so many ways that Guild Wars 2 can re-deliver some of the Guild Wars 1 experiences in an awesome way, and I think that they did Snowblind pretty well. The thing is, the thing I loved about Snowblind the most was descending the cliffside and, you know, lighting the beacons. But when they did the revamps, the Fractal devs were basically like, fuck it, we can't be bothered to make this good. So let's just cut it. And I get that they need the fractals to be a certain length and blah, blah, blah. But that always made me really sad because that was one of my favorite elements. The spooky dark forest bit as well being also very cool. So, yeah, a bit disappointing. Right, anyway, so you go one wave down. Do not think the serpent will fall as easy as the reckless crab. Be warned, where the serpent strikes, death is sure to follow. Hear me, Luxons. The Imperial Dragon of the North has sent its champions in search of the Spear of the Archimedes. Listen to that. The Luxons regard city dwellers as the Imperial Dragon of the North. Oh, that's so cool. They shall have it only if they are worthy. Enter the arena, outsiders. Fight for your lives. Fight for the spear. The convocation has begun. I like the idea that they're all screaming and try, but oh, we're done. Okay. I was probably getting carried away there.
You have bested our champions and earned the right to fight Zu Hanuku. I believe this is what you came for. The Spear of Archimedes is yours.
Thank you, Eldorea. We accept the spear and the honor of fighting the kraken. We shall make you proud.
Yes, I expect you shall.
Was the record set by just a random dude? Essentially, yeah, as far as I know. Maybe showing my ignorance, not knowing Guild Wars 1 content creators very well these days. That was not... No, we've already been here in this instance, /age, for 3 minutes, and that's not the whole mission. That's just claiming the spear. The guy beat the whole mission in, like, 2 minutes. It might have even been sub 2 minutes. I can't remember. Yeah, let me get through all the dialogue before we go through as well, if that's all right. Enter the arena. No outsiders should steal what belongs to the Luxon Armada. We are the crab, unrelenting, unbending, unbreakable. We kill them, then the serpent that bends and slithers, we snap, we rip its head off. Then Argo, it's been many years since the roar of the Canthan dragon has been heard in the Jade Sea. There again, this idea that this is not Cantha. Your strength and courage brings honor to you and your people. Now you face Argo of the Turtle. Fight well, that our battle may be won for the ages. And Turtle obviously being the big lads. They're like the bear equivalent for the Norn. The Spear of Archimedes becomes more powerful with each death that occurs within its range. Try to kill enemies at close range or whenever possible while killing the spear. So the urn was about defense. The spear is about offense. This is why Colosseum, they missed a trick not referring to these two. So yeah, we hold the spear. The Spear of Archimedes is powered by the souls of those dying within its radius. Dropping it will cause Archimedes to deal 10 damage to any enemy within the spear's danger zone. So, as we kill these Island Guardians and whatnot, and the Rot Wallows, and this guy is totally Mount Kinkai speed clear farming right now. What will happen is it charges and charges and charges, and then we can nuke it. And as a ritualist, I'm fairly comfortable holding this thing. Were there any ritualists I should have used with my signet on there? There's a Necro boss here in the arena. Ah, there is, okay. I'm just going to nip back very quickly. Do you think that's a Game of Thrones reference? It could be, for sure. Everybody's fighting over there. I'm just going to sneak back and see where this Necro body is. MQSC. Yeah, my main anecdote I always talk about with Mount Kinkai Speed Clear is... and I'm going to make myself sound a bit of a big head here. Well, frankly, because I am being a big head. But this guy doesn't have a skill for us. Those marks are for other players as well. I got really quite good at Guild Wars 1. And at a point where most people didn't really think about the mechanics at all. And through my Doa farming and stuff, I learned very, very explicitly how aggro worked. Now, I don't know how whether it got patched eventually, but for a very long time at least... it was very, very, very like clockwork, 100% perfectly understood rules on how aggro worked in hard mode. It was like the first 3 mobs to engage on a target would 100% never retarget from that. So in Mount Kinkai Speed Clear, if you had your tank run forwards into a pack of 3 Rot Wallows, it would be impossible to ever steal aggro from that tank ever. But good etiquette and understanding amongst Guild Wars players was that your bonder would never stand in range because they'd all shit themselves and be scared that aggro would swap because no one really took the time to learn how the game worked. But I knew how the game worked. I knew that I would be perfectly fine. So I used to run a smite build, I think, in Mount Kinkai Speed Clear, and I'd be very aggressive with my position. I'd always move very tightly, and I'd always like be right on the heels and the ass of my tank at all the engagements where I could. I used to get like, I don't know, what can I say? It's a weak personality trait of mine that I hope as more of an adult I've ironed out, but I used to get really smarmy and arrogant about the fact that I knew that. And you get all these people that would be like freaking out in chat because their bonder's too close and getting really mad at me like, oh my god, get back, and they'd never be in any risk at all. And I used to sort of sit there with like a smug grin on my face as basically trolling them as they absolutely pissed themselves for no reason. But it was stupid of me, really. I don't know why I cared so much about the opinions of random people. And at the end of the day, all it would do, it would never mess up a run, but people would get really annoyed about it and irritated, and they might kick you, and then they'll be like, I don't want to play with that smiter anymore. So all it would really do is lower my odds of getting really long sessions of speed clearing. But yeah, I always think about that with Mount Kinkai speed clears, always. I guess it's just a stupid little thing of little boy on the internet is happy that he knows more than someone else. And I just wanted to show off. But yeah, there you go. And I'm still showing off. Check it out, bitches. I understood hard mode aggro. Oh, I didn't even get to drop my spear. Who blew up the boss? Oh no, the boss must be spawning. All right, there you go. Yes, chat, we're on the Jade Sea. Sorry. Let me drop the spear. Here we go. So we've gained loads of bodies. I drop it. Supreme Spear of Archimedes. Boom, 1,900. Now, listen, I know that that's kind of pathetic. That's like a single auto in Guild Wars 2. But in Guild Wars 1, that's a big meatball. That's very good. So very, very happy with that. And the meteor showers are actually hurting us here. The Jade Furies and things. So let's get our shelters and stuff up. Awesome. He's a Mesmer, by the way. So if we're quick, we could possibly signet cap it before the cutscene triggers. But there you go. That is the end of the mission. And that's what someone did in solo in 2 minutes.
The Kraken is dead.
A more well-deserved victory I have not witnessed.
Master Togo! Master Togo!
Menlo, come celebrate with us. We have the Spear of Archimedes.
It's none too soon. Shiro is on the move.
What? Where?
He was last seen in the Undercity, below Kaineng.
Then we must go to the Undercity. We will take this fight to Shiro.
They really, really nailed the soundtrack in the cutscenes, didn't they? I mean, really. I would even go as far as to say that their pairing of music to cutscenes and factions here is better than I've seen them do in Guild Wars 2. I mean, that's not really fair, because when you get that kind of format of cutscene in Guild Wars 2 these days, they actually are pretty good at it, but still. Anyway, all right, there you go. Pretty good stuff. And yes, okay, sorry, we're at the Jade Sea. It's awesome, isn't it? I'll note one other reason why I was very excited and happy about this way back when. I've talked a ton about why I was so thrilled with this. And yeah, first cresting that in my main LP I did of this, I sort of gave it the credit it deserves. But it's so pretty in terms of how it's rendered by the game. This doesn't look impressive these days at all. But there are certain areas of the Jade Sea where they put like a certain kind of like ripple texture onto the jade as you walk on it. And it's only in certain areas, but it's not just like a generic shine like we're looking at here. There's like a really gorgeous effect. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about, and it's amazing. Not just that. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is the rendering was a thing. You know, people don't think of it these days at all because they went for more of a stylized approach with Guild Wars 2 so they wouldn't get dated so heavily. But the original game, it was like the good-looking MMO. There were two big selling points for Guild Wars 1. I would actually say, beyond anything else, these deeper philosophies and understanding of how the PvP works and all that kind of stuff and the things I appreciate about it now, throw that all in the bin. There's two big reasons Guild Wars 1 sold loads. Two big reasons. One, no sub fee. Two, it was prettier than the other MMOs. It was graphically a treat. When we're talking about this period of time, the original Prophecies release, Factions release, even Nightfall to an extent, and then Ivan off, but other things started creeping up after that point. It was great, and you know, the Jade Sea was really a masterstroke in terms of that. A lot of cards couldn't run it, and you'd have to like drop the settings down a little bit. But there you go. I actually remember when I first started playing Guild Wars 1, the PC and the card we had was terrible, and it would just render all watery surfaces as a flat color, a single plane, and it looked terrible. And then we upgraded the GPU, and we got real water in the game, and it was amazing. I say we, because this was back when I used to play with my older brother. And, oh, yeah, that was a moment. That really was. That was good stuff. Okay, so, yeah, back to the city. I like that we go back to the city. I don't like that this was complete filler, as will be revealed in a moment. But don't you guys worry about that too much. Let's speak to the Herald. I have heard much about you, but events are unfolding quickly, and I fear we do not have much time for pleasantries. Master Togo has gone to meet with Menlo near the gates to Kaining City. You should rendezvous with them as soon as possible. I'm on my way. Bother me no more with this. Cool. And look at just the very walls. I mean, look at this. That's a living, breathing, animated turtle, guys. All right? This is like when you're at the Black Citadel and you think you're against like some stationary wall and you realize it's a piston that's slowly moving. Or like we saw in Sorrow's Embrace recently. It's a turtle and its eye might even move. It's awesome. I mean, he's got a weird shiny effect on it. Just think for a second how Guild Wars... I know that Guild Wars 2 has kind of messed up in a lot of ways in that all the things that felt really big in the original now feel kind of small in the sequel because the camera zooms out too much and we ourselves are bigger and you move around. I know all of that stuff. But imagine if they can preserve this sense of scale, these great beasts that open their maws and yawn like this in the sequel. Can you imagine that? A freaking 2019 MMO interpretation of these things. Guys, there's a dick ton to be excited about, and these can still be around even if the sea is melted. I mean, a big point of their culture is they use these to travel what is essentially like a big open plain and wasteland now. But, you know, it's a cool thought. There's a side of Luxon existence as well that I don't think the devs talk about enough, and that's like how they get food. How do you get food when all you've got is just jade to wander around on? A few sporadic little islands. There should be a lot of story about agriculture on these islands, but also the shorelines. It's weird to think that the shorelines would be population centers, but not for typical real-world reasons, and like you'd find anywhere else, ergo fishing, but the reverse. It's like the land is the bounty, and the water is the barren. But there's another side of it as well that I'd love to hear the devs sort of talk about, and that's that, you know, it's magically infused jade, and the idea is they mine it to get the magical properties out of it and their strength and power to be reaped. You know, essentially it was the Harvest Festival that went wrong and the magic got dispersed around. So I think that they missed out on telling some really cool story about how, hey, maybe they sustain their lives by generating sustenance from the magical properties of the jade itself. Somewhat similar going on over in the forest with the amber too, maybe. And I like that idea, but unfortunately the game doesn't talk well enough about it. It's a marvel of world building, it really is, and logistics of these people, but they don't go that far. So anyway, sorry, that's a bit of a tangent. The Zos Shivros channel, owned by the legit... What? The legit guild own everything. If the legit guild own everything, why do they let this border hold it? Look at this. This is the deepest outpost, and the legit guild own it. This is the deepest outpost, and the legit guild own it. They're on both sides. They're playing. They have two alliances. Wow. They're everywhere. They really are the poster boys of this. Anyway, you'll see that the flag is different, I think. Or it might even be the same. Different color, obviously. I think it's the same. Anyway, infamous for sending many sailors to their watery deaths back when ships still sailed the Jade Sea, this once treacherous channel is now traversed mostly by Luxons as they make their way to their home settlement, Cavalon. Another tweak on the Norn idea is, yes, these guys are nomadic and too, but they frequently make pilgrimages back to their center of civilization. How Holbrack is really regarded and treated amongst the Norn and Guild Wars 2, they're a bit waffly on, but they're pretty clear-cut about it with Luxons, I think. There's actually some really cool audio that I'm going to put in the LP tomorrow's episode, if you guys watch out for it, where some Norn are talking. They're really end-game Norn with some fairly rare ambient dialogue. I can almost guarantee none of you have ever heard. But there's some Norn sitting around talking to one another, and one of them says, "Ah, you know, we are doing good out here, but just between you and me, I think Newt Whitebear should be here. If he was here, he could just shout at the bad guys and they would die and wither away." He says something like that. And it's cool to see a reference to Newt for what it's worth, obviously, in charge of Holbrack. And the reason the line is beautiful is because the other Norn in the conversation steps forward and says, "Newt? Who are you talking about?" And he says, "What do you mean, who am I talking about? You're not from Holbrack then?" And the Norn says, "No, I'm not from Holbrack. I'm from up north of here, and we got pushed out by the dragon." And it's so cool. You don't get enough of that in Guild Wars 2. The game just assumes everyone's in Holbrack, and the Norn are just like humans, and they just live in divinity. And that's always the problem with Guild Wars 2. It makes Norn too much like humans. Or, not even like humans, just generic Kratons, really. Here we have Luxons, who are humans that feel different. They don't have their own culture, but there's that line at least there. It's such good ambient dialogue. Of course, everyone's going to frickin' miss it because it's in a random cave with no reason to stick about there, and then no one will hear it. But it's really important to hear that. Norn that aren't from Holbrack. Beautiful. So this challenge mission is played very differently to all the others. This is pure defense, which kind of means we're in our element because we can summon stuff and just hold it up. Someone's popping a lot of essences and your gods to whoever's doing that. So yeah, it's a defense where eventually bosses spawn, I think, that siege us from far away. And we've just got to see how long we survive. You get kicked out on this for wiping, and that's it, literally. So we'll see how it goes. We're getting a bunch of faction here for Luxons now. Problem is when we cash in one or the other, we sacrifice the one we didn't cash in. So this could be all for nothing. Or the Kurzik side could be all for nothing. It depends on what you guys vote. Speaking of which, I forgot to do a build vote. Oh well. Magnus and Air quip about their respective skin colors in Edge of Destiny, do they? That's awesome. I mean, yeah, I guess you guys, I've set you off on talking about Norn from Lion's Arch, and that's a very valid point. And I've always loved the way they showed Norn from Lion's Arch as well. But, you know, the idea of there not being a center of civilization for the Norn, I think that's at the heart of what it means to be Norn. And that's like everything that Eye of the North was building up. And it feels like they just threw it all away because of the logistics of how character creation was going to work and make all of the players of Holbrack. And I think that was a mistake. Or I don't think enough attention was paid to a way to work around it, if you will. So that's why I love that bit of dialogue. If I've learned, I knew a lot about, again, here's me being arrogant or whatever. I knew a lot about Corteria before I started this project. And for years, I've known a lot about Corteria, and I've gone unspoken on many things about Corteria. But if there's one thing that I have learned doing that LP, and have really learned, it's that Guild Wars 2 actually did a lot of things really well when you can supplement your experience with ambient dialogue. Some of the ambient dialogue's really good. Wait, you guys, if you're watching the series, there was another one really recently from that same cave, a Char, and he says, the Char's like, "What are we doing out here with all these other types? There are humans here. Humans!" And he sounds so fucking awesome, and he hates the humans, and like, that's such a good line. But no one ever would hear that. It triggers like once every 15 minutes if you're sitting about doing nothing, literally picking daisies. No one would hear that, but it's such a good line. There's another really badass sounding Char there as well. Like, there's a lot of little moments like that where it's like, holy shit, they actually did all right. But it's and I got so upset realizing this as well the other day, because I was capturing some Sylvari dialogue from somewhere. and there was another player. It was somewhere in like Iron Marches or something, right? And another player walked over to this place I was standing with my UI turned off, crouched in the corner, waiting for ambient dialogue. And I knew what the dialogue was because I'd looked on Wiki, and I was like, oh, it's going to be good. And this player came over. It was like an Asura player. And bless him, right? I was so happy to see this because there was no map completion objective. There was no heart to do. There was no POI or anything. And this player was wandering around speaking to the NPCs. Actually fucking speaking to them. Like merchants and stuff. And I was like, oh, you're a player after my own heart. Look at you. You're actually pressing F on these guys to get the little written dialogue there. You're trying to get detail out of Guild Wars 2. That's amazing. And I was so happy to see someone in one of these high-level dead maps that hadn't just debased their experience to spamming F and killing things, which everyone does, right? Myself included to an extent. So I was so happy to see that this player still had that heart was still there, that passion was still there. But it dawned on me, I was crouched in the corner, they ran over, they pressed F. There's no good dialogue from pressing F on any of those NPCs at all. And he spent maybe a minute or two there and then left, wandered out of the cave, because that was it. That was all he had. And he didn't know. That player would have loved to have heard the ambient dialogue that was coming up. The reason I was there, the reason I was crouched in the cave. He would have loved to have heard it. But he doesn't get to hear it because of the way they delivered the ambient dialogue there. And I just felt so bad because I was like, oh, there's still a couple of players that are clinging on and hoping for something. And they're not going to get it because they have to be there at the right moment of the 10 minutes. You know, I think I've learned something as well. This might be of use to you, Cossage, any wiki contributors out there. I'm pretty sure you can detect patterns in ambient dialogue. Sometimes they come in waves. So, like, the first time you go to an outpost, every single NPC in the area seems to register a player in the area, and they all speak at once. And then they start cycling, and some of their cycles are offset to other ones, so they slowly start speaking at different intervals. But I think there's definitely a thing. The way the devs have got it coded is I don't think some dialogue appears unless it detects a player in the area. And on top of that, I think some of it only triggers once upon seeing a new player in the area. So I think I've noticed when I first go to a zone, I'll hear some dialogue. It will play once and never again. There'll be other ones that keep looping, but that one piece will never play again. Not unless I log out and come back like a day later, and then I'll hear it straight away when I return. I think there's definitely a thing of that, which means that a lot of the ambient dialogue, most of us never, ever, ever hear because some other twat came along an hour ago, triggered it, walked off, and now it's destined to not proc again until the map winds down into a new mega server or there's a Guild Wars 2 update. I'm pretty sure that's a thing that goes on as well. So, I mean, yeah, anyway, that's something the LPs taught me that they did a lot of good stuff, but really I think the answer is you should be able to trigger ambient conversations by pressing F. It should be you press F, you have an option for the regular dialogue, opening them as a vendor or whatever, and then there should be a button that says eavesdrop, like just a third option on the list, and it should just say eavesdrop. And they don't need to add any more special flavor or anything like that, just eavesdrop. And when you click that, it tells the client to play whatever that information is. And if every single NPC that has ambient dialogue hooked up got that added or had that at launch, believe me, people would have taken this RPG in this world way more seriously and been much more impressed with it. And much more people would have gone through because the best stuff is hidden and you just don't get to see it. And in some ways I like stuff being hidden, you know, it's one of the things I've always applauded about games like Final Fantasy. You know, I like that Yuffie and FF7 you could completely miss, but if you get her, you get all... I understand the value of that stuff, but it's too much in Guild Wars 2. Too much money and time and talent spent on that ambient dialogue that people don't get. And so, you know, if I was making a top 10 list of big Guild Wars 2 mistakes, and we were doing it from a story-oriented lore standpoint, that would be probably the top of the list. Or top 5 at least. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, just little insights. There you go. That's Wave 2 defeated. We got 10 points. Wave 3 about to begin. I know I've waffled out a completely irrelevant discussion there, but frankly, there's not much to talk about this off Shivros channel. Someone DC'd as well, I'm afraid. So this siege turtle has been spawned by a summoning stone, by the way. And he's using Turtle Shell as stance, which reduces damage from non-crits. That's a cool thought. Do you reckon in Guild Wars 2 they can emulate that? Guild Wars 2 looks weird with optimized mode on. What do you mean? Oh yeah, Umod. Anyone want to pick a... Oh, serial experiments. A Jadeite summoning stone. Hype. Yeah, I'll take this. There you go. So that's the summoning stone that will allow us to summon those as well. Siege turtles. That's awesome. Yeah, basically, to have the siege turtles work as they do, the devs will express to us that it's through Jade, through the power of Jade. And that's sort of the mechanism for the conflict. Between the two people fighting over the Amber and the Jade. Let me open a skin. Let's run old school UI. Prophecies. Hell yeah. Right as Prophecies released, baby. Is Guild Wars 1 still alive? Absolutely. In fact, it had a bit of a resurgence here in 2018. I would certainly say so. My mind is still a little bit blown. We saw a freaking dev playing the game openly. Tag repped up. Today. So it's worth playing again? Yeah, definitely. And especially if you're into the sequel. Because you do get those extra rewards, and there'll be a novelty of some sort. By the way, someone cast Retribution on us ages ago. I guess I'll talk about this now. This is a bond, so it's a monk is just perma-maintaining this on us. This is a smiting bond, and what it means is unless an enemy rips it somehow, they are constantly sacrificing some of their energy generation to hold it on us. And whenever we get attacked, the damage gets reflected back. So it's called Retribution. This is very close to Guild Wars 2's retail. Very close. And this is one of the mainstay skills for a lot of the low-man farms. Having a 600 tank with a smiter, you have your tank run into billions of mobs, and Retribution just continuously splashes that damage back. You can supplement it with what is essentially an elite version of this. And then by energy draining with Mesmer skills such as Ancestor's Visage, comboed with nature rituals like Famine. Good stuff. You know, if there's one thing I'd like to do for Guild Wars 1 as well, like a serious project, for what it's worth, I don't consider this a serious project. If I wanted to do one that wasn't the pre-searing one, which I would also consider serious, I'd love to do sort of a spotlight on endgame farms and my memories of them, and show off all that old stuff, because it is a whole side of this franchise that I don't think people really know how deep the rabbit hole goes, or what it really looked like to properly do some of those farms, and it was really exciting. I get a little bit scared though, because there's still a lot of diehards that farm Doa and speed clear and stuff, and they're way more in the loop than I am. It's been years since I did it, so I'd probably look like a bit of an out of touch loser to them. How much of Guild Wars 1 was carried over into Guild Wars 2? 2 of the continents, now, at this point. The most recent expansion gave more Guild Wars 1 territory. In many ways, a lot of what Guild Wars 2 is doing is always nodding back to the original game. It's what most of the player base is constantly clamoring for better or worse. And I'll make the argument that sometimes for worse. So yeah, it's a great thing. If you have the perspective of both games... Here's an interesting thought. I don't know how true this is. I want you guys in chat to think about for yourself. Any people who played both games. It might be true that I would not be playing Guild Wars 2 if I didn't also play Guild Wars 1 today. I mean, certainly Guild Wars 2 was only ever on my radar because I was a fan of the original game. But let's pretend... Let's imagine there's an alternate universe out there where I never played Guild Wars 1. But I found out about Guild Wars 2 anyway. And I picked it up. I might have put the Guild Wars 2 down. You know, at some point over the years. Probably a lot of my enthusiasm for the sequel is for knowing both games. And that's not just rabid fanboyism. That's because there's a lot of tangible excitement and intrigue and understanding you get from having played both. One of the reasons why it's sort of criminal that ArenaNet abandoned the first one wholesale as they did for so long. It's not enough just to keep the servers up, I don't think. Well, it is enough to just keep the servers up. It is enough to do what they've done, obviously. But I think they miss out on an incredible opportunity by maintaining both games at once, especially considering how philosophically different they both are. The people are muscling in on their fucking territory. Grinding Gear Games are muscling in big time. They have been for years. If you guys didn't see a Torchlight MMO, his details are coming out now, been revealed. That's Guild Wars 1 getting muscled in on by ARPGs. And it didn't have to be. I respect what the Guild Wars 2 devs did, though. They basically said, we want to put everything into the sequel. We want the sequel to be the best MMO ever. So I can understand why they wanted to focus. They could have viewed trying to juggle as something of a compromise that would have made Guild Wars 2 suffer, and I get that. But at some point, maybe a year or around the Season 1 decision, I think around then they should have looked back at the original game and said, okay, let's kick up some initiatives for that. Maybe no devs at the time had the passion for it, though. I don't know how much freedom they have, how much it's management that stops stuff like that. But, yeah, that was probably a really good time to look back at Guild Wars 1. What do you guys think? Right as Season 1 was being conceived. Imagine this, seriously. Oh, it makes me feel warm in the chest. Imagine Flame and Frost is announced and a Guild Wars 1 update for Guild Wars Beyond is announced at the same time as Flame and Frost. Imagine that. Just think about that for a second. You could easily have had a RuneScape 3 to OSO RS style situation going on by now. Oh. Think of the confidence people would have and excitement for ArenaNet to make a whole new thing. Alright, we're talking about the same stuff every stream, so let's not. We've been in here quarter of an hour now. This isn't bad, guys. Will this ever ramp up to kick us out? Now, what I'm noticing here is today's high score is 4,727. And we only have a score of 60. Now, our score acquisition will ramp, but that's a bit bonkers. I love the notification skin on this UI. That looks so good. Who the hell today spent so long in here? They got 4,000. I mean, there's a sign that Guild Wars 1's alive for you right now. Someone spent a long time in this random-ass mission today. Look at that. 4,700. Unless I'm missing something, there are people actively into this stuff. Oh, you think bots? Oh, no, don't break my heart on that. Maybe it is bots. You can AFK this for Lux and Farm. Okay. Enthusiasm is dead. Alright, guys, let's just travel out now. If this is just so brain dead these days, it's AFK full, so let's just go. I'm, of course, on my own right now because of stream delay, but hopefully people will see. I'm hoping that they'll notice. We'll be safe while our spirits are up. I have days on me. Cool. They're not coming. I got another wave coming. Oh, no, there's salt sprays. I'm going to die. Well, I'll just run out and explore. So check it out. This is the instance. It's very pretty. The sea looks pretty good there, but it will look better later. Trust me. There's a certain kind of, like, extra layer that they added to it at some point. Big broken wall. Can run through here. Look out beyond the boundaries. This is an exciting thing that I miss the feeling of. You can't jump, you can't climb. The mysteries of what lies beyond the boundaries. Remember what I talked about abstracting things? That's it, man. It feels like a real world because I can't go absolutely everywhere. They just hint at everywhere. I mean, you can explore over there, but anyway. All right, yeah, let's resign. Good job, guys. We showed that off really well. Came out of it with a little bit more Kurzik than Luxon in the end, frankly. Unless we're about to get a big batch when we finish this Luxon one. Maybe we will. Alas, your pie was defeated. Can I do some Temple of the Aegis runs, Foe or Underworld? Really, the idea of this streams is to look at this region. And only this region. The only other one I'd consider is maybe Domain of Anguish, just because we missed it on the last time we did a project like this. I'm not interested in doing Prophecies unless it was a whole series on its own. All right, let's go back up into the Pongmei Valley from... nobody's been to the Martu Keep still, so we'll go up to the Boreas seabed and we'll move from there. Somebody dipped, by the way, so we have a slot if someone wants to join. Meet up at the Boreas seabed and get yourself in. Let's go out this way. Hoping you guys are getting a bit of the ambience there, as it is quite good. There you go. Kim Rusar, welcome. Oh, Bacon just invited as well. Oh, somebody else dipped. Oh, yeah. Eric of Jade said, I've got to log off now. It was fun. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Bacon, re-invite. You were just a second away. There's lots of people around. I love this because it gives us that sense that the game is like super populated because everywhere we go there's people. This is actually awesome. We really missed out when we did Nightfall doing it just with heroes. But you guys got to vote on every single hero build, which is... There was a lot of community interaction on that one. Every build. And you all went with Smiters. One of the reasons you ended up downloading and playing Guild Wars 2 is because of WP's videos on YouTube. You've literally been playing less than a week. Really? How did you find my videos then if you're not even a player? That's super cool, dude. That's really awesome. What was the first video you saw of mine? It's always strange to me. I obviously did the New World video this week, and they had a Reddit thread of the video on the New World subreddit, which has not got many people on it. But it was really weird to see comments from people. This is not a brag, just to be clear. But it was weird to see comments from people who didn't know who I am. That's not me bragging. It's just that, you know, my focus has been so narrow and understood for so long now that I don't see that much, you know. Like, there's not new traffic coming. It's not a brag. What I'm trying to do is explain that there's not new traffic coming through a lot of the time. And it was really weird to, it was like, oh shit, I remember what that's like. You know, I'm a nobody out here. It was kind of nice, you know. God, that's a hard thing to express without sounding like I'm trying to, you know, joke myself off. Let's take out these Rottweilers here. Kind of a big deal. No, it's just that I mean, I'm sure that there's a ton of people within Guild Wars that don't know me, and I would be perfectly accepting and understanding of that. But it was, you know, you could just go read the New World thread if you want to know what I mean. Yeah, it is interesting. Oh, look at that. Look at the UI. This old UI is cool. Look at that. In many ways, I don't know whether I like that just because it's different, or I think it's genuinely better. I think it's genuinely better. It's great. Yeah, exactly, Valen. Yeah. Oh, my... Okay, he did the run. Good job. Martu Keep. Sweet. And now we go out of the Martu Keep once everybody's loaded through. And we should all be good. What? My alarm to start streaming just went off. I'm already streaming. That's 2 hours off for some reason. Google Calendar, people. I'm well on the Google Calendar hype train again at the moment, and it is the best thing in the world. Honestly, I know there will be someone listening to me right now who's feeling unproductive, feeling a little bit lazy, feeling like they don't know what they're doing, where they're going. I know that you're thinking it because you're watching one of my streams, all right? And you're wasting time. Listen, Google Calendar. Hook it up to your phone, get the notifications running, sort it out. It's amazing. Best productivity increasing tool on the planet. Do it. It's great. Unless you break it and get it offset by 2 hours somehow. But still, remain alert. Yeah, I know, Togo. Mukpupat, we need you to go down to the sewers. Oh, believe me, that's my namesake. I'm from the sewers of Kaineng. How do you think I got this name? And locate the Canthan forces. Find out whether they have been able to learn anything about Shiro's plans. All right, shouldn't we be liaising with Menlo more than anyone else? So now we get to go out into the Shenzhen tunnels, everyone. And back into the city. And I don't like this filler arc that culminates in nothing. But I do love the way we loop back into the city. And, you know, that's not the only time it happens. It's just, it feels so much more natural and realistic than the way Prophecies did things. Whenever I get people into Guild Wars 2, I recommend WP's videos. They give a really good base for lore and understand the world and getting in the hype. What I really need is a good curated playlist for people seeking to do that. One of the things I noticed, I didn't see it happen, but do you guys remember when POF came out? Let's just remember. We had the Elite Spec previews, but didn't realize the entirety of announcing the Elite Specs was on our shoulders. So the only person who really did great coverage of that was Bogotta. He did very, very, very good. Peachy did some pretty good coverage too, but mine was not good enough because I didn't know what I was getting in for. I assumed that things would be different. So I kind of had a sort of a shoddy opening. So what I did was when the first open hands-on for everyone was available for the elite specs. I did like 9 hours of content in one day. I spoke till my throat was raw on every single aspect of every single elite spec. And do you remember I did 9 videos introducing the Soul Beast, introducing the Weaver, introducing... That's a year ago I did that now, right? And that killed me on those days. But go back and look at those videos. They are very, very highly viewed videos and very, very well trafficked. And a lot of people, I still get comments, people saying, hey, I really appreciate this. So what I'm wondering is obviously do it next expansion. But what I'm wondering... And what makes me really happy about that is I did those videos. That wasn't some result of time exclusive, you know, extra thing I got there. That was just working hard when the previews were available and I got something out of it. So what I'm thinking is it would be kind of cool to go and do that for HOT classes and just the baseline classes. Because that's exactly the kind of video that was just described in chat. A good starting point for people. Be like, okay, I want to learn about Guild Wars 2, what it's all about. Boom, let's open the doors. So I don't know what happened here. Everybody got picked off and blown up. 3 people dead. I just got rezzed. Anyway, this is a new guy just trying to bait us into a fight we don't care about. Yeah, I got attacked by Afflicted behind us while I was talking. Why didn't I fight there? What was I doing? I was just gesturing with my hand. I was literally just... I had no interest in playing the game. I just wanted to talk. You look at this arc as building up false hope, then you've got to pick yourself up again when all is lost. Yeah, I think it could have functioned as that, and I think that that's the way to have passed it to the product, but I don't think they actually did that successfully. Don't forget, guys, getting the energy here is amazing. Hold on, so if I get Mesmer of Lissa, does that bump my... fast casting secretly as well? Oh, I just reminded myself. Can anyone remember? What was that bug where you get every attribute in the game? There was a bug someone had where you can't claim the secondary profession, but you can get every attribute line. Do you guys remember that? We talked about that maybe 7 months ago or so. I'd love to do that on my main account. That would make these pretty exciting too. But yeah, get chaotic power. That's super OP. This is alright as well, I guess, depending on the content. Critical strike. But does this increase our fast cast? Alright, anyway, so let's keep going. I was asking you about new viewership on the New World video. Glad you got some... Well, I mean, it was a very, very... Here, let's summon our siege turtle. Just that person dropped that stone. It was a very, very, very small subreddit. There's really not a community for New World at all. And maybe for good reason. It might end up terrible. Who knows? I am aware, by the way, that there are other YouTubers and people out there who they've already flown out and given first dibs and stuff. And they all talk about how they're under NDA and can't talk about the game and stuff. I am not one of those people. I've not been considered or anything like that. So the reason you might not see other people talking about the game is because they've already been sort of cozied up to. I don't know for sure. And this whole thing might be really premature. But that's something I've seen as well from looking at their subreddit. Are there any stats on how many people play Guild Wars 2? Sometimes they release stats, but more than enough. Far more than enough. Every single format. The most, like, oh, it's dead and terrible format is PvP that people talk about. And that is enough to get queues within 5 minutes for the vast majority of players. Very, 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 very quickly. There's more than enough players. There's several different communities you can find online. It's a very, very successful, big enough game. That's the point. Doesn't matter what the exact numbers are, big enough that you would never feel alone. There's plenty of guilds around, active maps and chats and so on. Without playing the game, you can have no way of passing a number into something meaningful. Oh, Sinterklaas, you're not getting notifications anymore. It's a conspiracy. It's good to see you. You made it towards the end, at least. Seeing Siege Turtles, you'd love to see them in Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I mean, I don't think... Listen, Siege Turtles are cool. They are cool. But I'm more excited about just those other turtles. The ones that they build their houses on, right? And just wander around. Those turtles that are islands. That's what I'm talking about. You know those little boats? The boat... we had in the Festival of the Four Winds with the bench on it and stuff. You ain't seen nothing yet. Listen, They got the talent to make it happen. Here's what's going to happen, all right? Canthan expansion adds Tengu, fishing, some of those big headline features that will sell like hotcakes, okay? We get that, and with that, they start showing us these big turtles and like just all this movement and walking around on turtles as they walk around, okay? And the idea of like these massive, massive, enormous things. Boom, wait. Then they take all of that. Norn expansion next. Listen, kids, we didn't do the Norn too well. Boom, here it is. Everything about the Norn that you've always wanted. Oh, guess what? Kodan are now playable because, yeah, the Tengu went really well. Oh, guess what? Their sanctuaries, yeah, they're now going to move around realistically in half of the Norn expansion, which is dedicated to the open seas and deep sea dragon related stuff as we literally move around on giant meta events that cover the maps the size of Path of Fire maps as these enormous sanctuaries float across the unending ocean with not 5 but 7 playable races astride them. That is Guild Wars 2 4 years from now. Book it in. We're making it happen. I've just predicted it all down to a T. Cogs of War is after that. Because and that's the last one, by the way. Cogs of War is the last one. It's the best of everything in ways I couldn't even understand or describe to you just yet. Cogs of War is the end, and it's about the fracturing of the alliance between the races, the conclusion of the Elder Dragon stuff, and a different form of chaos descending upon Tyria before curtains close, and we establish another time jump for Guild Wars 3 with the Char once again squarely in an antagonistic role. And don't you butter it up. Give them back to me. There you go. Also, there'll be a mobile game somewhere in the middle. And hopefully some Guild Wars 1 development. No, you don't want the Char X back first, all right? Cogs of War later, because then it's the best, you know? It will be... Think about how Eye of the North was better than Prophecies, all right? That's what you want. You want Cogs of War to be better than Core, right? You want a similar leap. You want the best of the best. You want everything refined. You want all the build craft and philosophies and everything understood at that point. You want Corteria fixed at that point. You want Season 1 fixed at that point. And then you want to slam them in the face with the biggest D you can find. And that's where the Blood Citadel is. That's the point. My men have been fighting and dying it by the dozens, but the afflicted will not stop coming. Mukpupbat should talk to the Emperor. If I could get some reinforcements, I could help you set up some sort of safe zone within. What else do you wish to discuss? There is another side of this I do quite appreciate, and it's some urgency to Shiro. It's like, yeah, just because you've decided to stop and get the spear and the urn, it doesn't mean Shiro has stopped. And I like that side of this, that we suddenly get sidetracked and we have to go do this. These beasts have been attacking in massive numbers, and my men are dropping like flies. I have orders to hold this position, but as you can see, we are just barely holding them off. Oh. Oh, I thought we would get into the... Really? I thought we unlocked the outpost straight away. Wow, that's bonkers. Okay, we're going to Raisu Palace again. I forgot about this bit. Oh my god, some memories there of the return to Outpost on this skin set. Why wouldn't Cantha be the big... I don't know. I'm pulling this out of my arse, man. I don't actually know what the perfect order for me would be. I don't think Cantha... Why would... Let me just... Is it... If why it isn't is a valid question, surely why it is also a valid question? Why must it be the last one? Why is that an idea? Again, I don't really care too much about Guild Wars 2 constantly treading in the footsteps of the old one. We're doing this stream series is very exciting and interesting, and there's all this beautiful stuff, but they can give me the Sunken Isles for all I care. They can give me the Lands of Dawn or the Wetlands or Missandry or Foundry, any of these places. They can give me whatever the hell they want, and I would have some confidence that they can do a reasonable setting, you know? They don't have to constantly hound after what a couple of guys wrote many years ago. They could never do Catha for all I really care when you get down to it. I'm in no hurry for it. The Kenthan Empire has suffered gravely. So many lives lost, so many families torn apart. A part? Apart. A-P-A-R-T.
Apart.
Of two or more people or things separated by a specific distance in time or space. That's not meant to have a space bar in the middle, is it? It's a typo, isn't it? Right? Wrong? Anyway. My heart is heavy with the loss. I understand that you have procured both the Spear of the Archimedes and the Urn of St. Victor. Master Togo believes that together these weapons might have the power to bring Shiro to his knees, just as the heroic spirits within them did so many years ago. I pray that he's correct. Please, speak with my attendant known as the Emperor's Hand. He will arrange your passage into the sewers. Thanks, man. I was hoping we'd get, you know, some nice food, some nice grapes, good delicatessen platter out there, breads, you know, various exotic meats, and we get to have it on plates gilded with gold. No, we're going to the sewers, thanks. You have served the Emperor well. Thank you for your service. Okay, cool. The Emperor is a kind and just man. He is. I like the way they characterize the Emperor here, too. It would be so easy to make him a wank stain, but he's really nice. And I'm curious how Winds of Change turns that on his head and talks about that, because it's cool to just see a genuinely benevolent guy that everything's falling around him. With so much, like, issues within the bureaucracy of the ministries and so on, to see that the guy at the head really does give a crap. And is powerful and capable in as many ways as he can be. But to see him fail, it's good. The Emperor tells me that you are heading to the Sanjiang district to fight Shiro. You are either very brave or very foolhardy. Commander Jafai is holding down the front lines there, but I do not think things are going in our favor. Escort these members of the Emperor's Royal Guard to Commander Jafai to reinforce his position. I'm just doing my duty to the Emperor, man. I'm just trying. Oh, no. This person is a member of the Amphas. Smitsky is doing the fashion. Here you go. This is what I'm talking about. This is my perspective on Fashion Wars. This is a debuff that degens your health, but nonetheless appears in outposts, and it makes you shiny and gross and big, and it deteriorates the art style, but screw it. And I used to have that on my Mesmer for years. The Chalice. That's so cool. Also, look at the little fishies in the water down here. This is why fishing will come with the Canthan expansion, you see? Because there were fish in Cantha. See? Sweet. Okay. Look at this top tier speculation. You won't get better speculation anywhere else. Don't let anyone tell you anything else, right? There's a reason we're the top dogs, okay? It's because of crazy insights like that. There were fish in Cantha, therefore fishing will be the next expansion feature. And you may laugh, but I will be proven right in, what do we guess, 13 months? Why is everyone so keen on fishing? It's just a staple of these kinds of games, you know, that Guild Wars hasn't done yet. I don't think it's necessarily a game changer or that exciting, but it excites me in terms of I know it will bring in a lot of other people, so hey. Alright, back to the Shenzhen tunnels, and we're going to the Sanjiang district for realsies this time. That's a nice little chip as well going up there. I like the way how the game takes us back to the capital to sort of remind us maybe in a subtle way, hey, remember to upgrade your gear, remember to upgrade your armor, your skills. There are facilities here that you might want to take advantage of, because at the end of the day, we haven't been to Cavalon, we haven't been to House Zuhelzer, so those opportunities might be slipping out of our minds. So there's lots of nice little subtle things that they're doing there. So yeah, there you go, guys. We made some good progress today. I really feel like we did. It's probably because we didn't spend too long at the intro of the episode. We just of the series. We just went straight on in and we went for it. And yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow and we will get on with this and we'll end this arc. And the big vote will happen at that point. Which faction we join. Don't miss it. If you're enjoying these streams, the biggest decision of them all is tomorrow. So you guys should be there. Otherwise, you know, you're going to log in next week and you're going to say, hey, WP, and then your brain is going to melt out of your nut because I'm going to be in the wrong region and you didn't vote on it. So, yeah, that'll be tomorrow. It'll be very cool, by the way, now that we're back at Martu Keep, if that poor dev we just abandoned gets a shot to play with us if they want to. That was really surreal. But yeah, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Gonna enjoy the last of my vanilla Coke here now. And keep an eye out for another episode of the LP on the channel. It's already up on Patreon. If you want more community discussion, collaboration, fun stuff like that, check us out on Discord. And the big emote change, I'll try and find some time for later. A bit of a busy day. Honestly, the 3 stream days are pretty busy days for me, it feels like. So, yeah. Anyway, it's been really chill, guys. I've enjoyed both of these streams immensely. Hope you've had fun. And I'll see you all tomorrow.